Hi everybody. I'm wanting to continue on for the second part of the Gospel of Thomas and look at what it says about the kingdom in the Gospel of the Kingdom. So Shabbat Shalom for those that are watching live. I wish you a very peaceful and lovely Sabbath as we connect with the Father and study His Word. Okay, these books. So we just read at the end last night this one, and I just want to start from this and then we'll continue on. So Yahushua said, "If you do not fast from the world, you will not find the kingdom. If you do not celebrate the Sabbath as a Sabbath, you will not know the Father." Yahushua said, "I stood in the midst of the world and revealed myself to them in the flesh. I found them all intoxicated, not one of them was thirsty. And my soul grieved for the children of humanity, for they are blind in their hearts. They do not see. They came naked into the world, and naked they will leave it. At this time they are intoxicated. When they have vomited their wine, they will return to themselves." His disciples asked him, when will be the day that you appear to us? When will be the day of our vision?" And Yahushua replied, "On the day when you are naked, as newborn infants who trample their clothing, then you will see the Son of the Living One, and you will have no more fear." It's a very powerful statement, because if you are a naked infant, you have nothing. You are nothing. Nobody knows you. Nobody can benefit from you. There's nothing that you have to offer. You can't do anything for anybody. You have not acquired any goods of the world. You see, there's a parallel between a naked infant and the kingdom. And there's a lesson in that for us to not desire anything of this world, not what the world do, not how the world think, not the desires of the world through all the stages of our life. You know, being in the cool group of friends, career, acquiring things, being all of that which is esteemed in the world. That is what is high, that has to come low. The first will be last and the last will be first. It is those that give up, those that bow the knee and walk away from all of these trappings of the world and become as an infant, become as a soul that has not got any desire in the world. What the world does doesn't matter to them. It doesn't stick to them. It doesn't become who they are. This is what we need to do, to acquire His kingdom, for Him to fill us, for us to then take on His kingdom and His ways. It's not about anything other than what we become, who we become. It's about being. It's not about out there saying the sinner's prayer to hundreds of people. It's about acquiring His kingdom from within us and then showing the world through us His kingdom. And you see, everything of this world will be stripped from us by the time that he returns. So if we're hanging on to our houses, our cars, friends, family, anything and everything, it's all going to be stripped from those that truly walk according to his ways and are willing to not worry about the things the world worries about. Then we are fit for his kingdom. It's a very different way of thinking. It's a different way of being. It says here, Yahushua said, the Pharisees and the scribes have received the keys of knowledge and hidden them. They did not go within, and those who wanted to go there were prevented by them. But as for you, be as alert as a serpent and as simple as a dove. See, we've now acquired the knowledge because we've got the writings, we've got the books, we've got the testimonies. And we've got it now right back in its original form, the Palestinian and Aramaic Targum, which we want to do more readings of. I need to do that more often. So I will be. That's the keys of knowledge. And it says in the Bible that knowledge is of greater value than money, than anything. Because if you've got knowledge, you have understanding. And you've got understanding, then you can do. And then you can become and be. So the Sanhedrin back in Jesus' day had many of the original writings, and yet they did not be honest with them. They didn't share them. And instead they hid them from the people and used their own ways by adding to them and taking away to enslave the people. And that's why when Yahushua came, he battled against them, saying, it's not as it's written, for it is written, such and such. And he brought the truth of the Torah, the truth of the way, the truth of life. So the Sanhedrin were losing control. And he was showing up their fraudulency and their lies and their profiteering off the people. So, but we don't have that now. I know the Sanhedrin has set up again in the tunnels underneath Jerusalem. However, for us, we are of the Kingdom of Yahuah, and we walk according to his ways, not according to man, but according to him, and his spirit interprets within us truth. So, just as it was in the days of Yahushua, in fact, just as it was always, there's Jeremiah, Ezekiel, where they knew through the Lord showing them the corruption, and they stood against it and spoke against it. So there's always been a remnant. Yahushua said, a grapevine planted away from the Father has no validity. It's not valid. It will be torn up by its roots and will perish. Now, this is important because unless you are in the truth, unless it is planted by him, unless it is in his kingdom, unless it is according to his ways, his Torah, it's not valid. We are fooling ourselves to go and do and to believe anything else that's different. It's really, really, really important that we understand these things, because we could go to a church that preaches any day is the Sabbath. In fact, don't worry, it's all been done away with. It doesn't matter. We will do Christmas because, it's a great way to share the gospel of their gospel of come say the sinner's prayer and then your life will be fine. He will make your life successful. You can have more trappings of the world. He will bless you. Unless it's planted by the Father, in the Father, it is going to be torn up by the roots and it will perish. And if you are in that world, you need to think about that seriously. Yahushua said, grapes are not picked from thorn bushes, nor figs from thistles, for they do not give fruit. The good offer goodness from the secret of their heart, the perverse of a perversity from the secret of their heart. But that which is expressed is that which overflows from the heart. And Jesus said, from Adam to John the Baptist, no one born of woman is higher than John the Baptist. Thus his eyes will not be destroyed, but I have said, whoever among you becomes small will know the kingdom and be higher than John. Yahushua said, a man cannot ride 2 horses nor bend 2 bows. A servant cannot serve 2 masters, for he will honor one and disdain the other. No one drinks an old wine and then desires a new one. New wine is not put into old wineskins, for they will crack. Old wine is not put into new skins, for it will spoil. A patch of old cloth is not sewn onto a new garment, for it will tear. This is a really interesting part that is also in the Bible, and I take it to mean no one drinks an old wine and then desires a new one. The old, it's like the beginning is the end and the end is the beginning. What is of old is more pure, less tainted, more matured, more depth, more body, more nourishment, all of those things, more flavor, more sustaining. And what is old? What is old in what we have? What is old in the scriptures? That is Genesis, Deuteronomy, Exodus, Numbers, Leviticus. It's the old books. It's the book of Enoch. It's the book of Jasher. It's all of these things. It's the Aramaic and Palestinian Targum. If we absorb ourselves into these things, then when we go to the New Testament, or even more, we hear about things of today, you can't patch one onto the other. And what I'm meaning by that is, a lot of the Sunday church, you can't patch it onto the Torah and say it's okay now. The old wine is the best wine. It is the matured wine. It is the one that has existed, pre-existed. It's almost the eternal wine. So no one who drinks the old wine then wants a new one, because it's so beautiful and satisfying. Its depth is beyond measure. You can study it and study it and study it, and forever you're learning new things. It's not, whereas a new wine, what we hear about today is so linear. It is so unsatisfying, and it's like people go to church and they want to be fed, but they're not getting fed because they're not getting the wine. They're not getting truth. They're not getting the Torah. They're not getting all of that sustenance. You can't patch one onto the other. You must go back and read and fill yourself with the beginning. Because if you haven't got the beginning, then you won't understand the things in the new. As I say, the New Testament and the more current wine. Blessed are you, says Yahushua, the whole ones, the chosen ones. You will find the kingdom, for you came from there and you will return. Lots of beautiful things in this book. His disciples asked him, is circumcision useful or not? And he replied, if it were useful, fathers would engender sons both circumcised from their mothers. Rather, it is the circumcision of the spirit that is truly useful, the severing of the world, the severing of those things that you once desired and wanted and worked for and thought about and yearned for all the time. If you sever those things, that is circumcision of the spirit of your life. Blessed are you, the poor, for yours is the kingdom of heaven. See, we look at poor in this world as in living in a shack, not having a lot of clothes, going to the food banks. And that is poor, I suppose. You don't have a lot of options, you don't have a lot of money. But if you become poor for the sake of the gospel and for the sake of him, then you are rich. And as he says, those that seek those things are the poor ones, because their end is going to come to naught. But those that seek the kingdom of heaven are very, very beyond measure wealthy, because it is to come. It is to come. Yeah. Yahushua said, whoever cannot free themselves from their father and their mother cannot be my disciple. Whoever cannot free themselves from their brother and sister and does not bear their cross as I do is not worthy of me. Yahushua said, the kingdom of the Father is like a man who had some good seed. His enemy came at night and sowed seeds among the good seed. The man would not allow them to pull up the weeds, saying, I fear that you might pull up the wheat as well. Indeed, at harvest time, the weeds will be conspicuous. They will be pulled up and burnt. Yahushua said, there was a man who invited some visitors. After preparing the meal, he sent his servant to summon the guests. The servant went to the first one and said, my master invites you. The man answered, I have business with some merchants who are arriving this evening. Please excuse me from the dinner. The servant went to the next one and said, my master invites you. And the man answered, I have just bought a house and need one more day, so I cannot come. The servant went to another guest and said, my master invites you. And the man answered, my friend is getting married and I must prepare the food. Excuse me. The servant returned to his master and said, those you have invited to dinner cannot come. The master replied, well, then go on the roads and invite whoever you find to dine with me. Buyers and merchants will not enter my Father's dwelling. Yahushua said, a good man had a vineyard, which he gave to tenants to work and harvest the fruit for him. He sent his servant, which are like the prophets, to collect the fruit of the vine, but the tenants seized the servant and beat him nearly to death. The servant reported this to his master, who thought, perhaps they didn't recognize him. And he sent another servant, another prophet, who was also beaten. Then the master sent his own son, Yahushua, thinking, perhaps they will treat him with respect. When the tenants realized that he was the inheritor of the vineyard, they seized him and killed him. Those who have ears, let him hear. Yahushua said, those who know the all, yet do not know themselves, they are deprived of everything. Yahushua said, blessed are you when they hate you and persecute you. There is a place where you are not persecuted, and they will never find. Thank you, Yahuwah. Yahushua said, blessed are those who have been persecuted in their hearts, for they have known the Father in truth. Blessed are those who are hungry, for they shall be filled. Yahushua said, many are standing by the door. but only those who are alone and simple can enter the bridal chamber. The kingdom of the Father is like a merchant who had a load of goods to sell. Then he saw a pearl, and the merchant was wise and sold his goods to buy the pearl. You too should pursue the treasure which is everlasting, where the moths never go, nor do the worms devour. Yahushua said, whoever is near to me is near to the fire. Whoever is far from me is far from the kingdom. So what does fire do? Whoever is near to me is near to the fire. Fire purifies. You know, I have a fire in my home, and when it is lit, it purifies, it's cleansing, it's illuminating. You can see right into it. You can see light. It burns off all the little bugs and dust and everything until it gets down into the chunk of the piece of wood, and then it gets further, and at the end it's left these bright illuminating coals. So that which has been higher needs to be lower in us. It's a different way of thinking to the way of the world and to the way of churches. The churches is all about doing, busy, busy. It's like Mary and Martha. Which is the greater? Is it to tidy the house because you're coming? To make it ready? You know, clean dust? Or is it to sit at your feet and to listen? And he said to Martha, Mary has chosen the greater, to sit and to listen. Yahushua said, winched is the body that depends on another body. Winched is the soul that depends on both. So winched are we if we are expecting to be taught from a pastor or a priest or somebody else. We need to be independently fed from him. Yahushua said, whoever seeks will find, and whoever knocks from inside, it will open to them. Yahushua said, the kingdom of the Father is like the dough in which a woman has hidden some yeast. It becomes transformed into good bread. Those who have ears, let him hear. Yahushua said, the kingdom of the Father is like the woman who carried a jar of flour. After she walked a long way, the handle of the jar broke, and the flour began to spill behind her along the road. Heedless, she noticed nothing. When she arrived, she set down the jar and found it empty. I love this one, because to me it's like the kingdom of God is like a woman who carried a jar of flour. This is ourselves, our being, and we're getting filled up with all these things, and then it starts to leak. You don't realize, but people start noticing things. You're unconscious of it because you're changing and you're growing and you're becoming, knowledgeable, and it's starting to spill out. And then it's sort of like it becomes part of your life, and then you get more involved in it and begin to teach and to show and to share before. And this is my prayer, that by the time he arrives, it is empty. Everything that I have been filled with has come out. Freely you receive, freely give. And this is what we all need to be doing, is receiving and giving. It is not ours to keep. We are to be a worker in his kingdom. We are to build it. We are to share. We are to put our light up on the mountaintop to share. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's part of that. His disciples said to him, your brothers and your mother are waiting outside. And he replied, those who do my Father's will are my brothers and my mother. It is they who will enter into the kingdom. So it's not the will of your Sunday church or other church or group of people. It's not their will. It's not what they think. It's what he says. It's what he thinks. It's what is written. It is black and white. Thou shalt not. Remember the Sabbath. You know, if you break something that belongs to somebody, replace it plus interest, plus, that lot of gain. It's all the things that are in the Torah. It's about recompensing. It's about giving back, blessing people, being active in his kingdom. Whoever does not hate their father or mother as I do cannot be my disciple. And whoever does not love their mother and their father as I do cannot become my disciple. For my mother made me to die, but my true mother gave me life. It's very loaded. So we are to love our parents, honour them, of course, but not above the Father, not above his ways, not above who he is. They came to him, "Come, let us pray and fast today." And Yahushua said, "What wrong have I done? How have I been defeated? When the bridegroom leaves the bridal chamber, it will be the time to fast and to pray." The kingdom is like the shepherd with 100 sheep, and one of them disappeared. It was the most beautiful. The shepherd left the other 99 sheep and looked only for that one until he found it. After his great effort, he said to the lamb, "I love you more than the other 99. Whoever drinks from my mouth will become like me, and I will become like them, and what was hidden from them will be revealed." Yahushua said, "The kingdom is like the man who had hidden a treasure in his field. He did not know it was there, and when he died, he left the field to his son who knew nothing and sold the field. The buyer came to plough the field and found the treasure while working. He began to lend money with interest to all who wanted it." So in other words, Yahushua wants a return on his investment, meaning he has invested to us knowledge and gifts, and he wants us to grow that. He wants us to learn more. He wants us to develop it. It's not that he will come back. It's like the parable of the talents. He wants to know his return. What did you do with that which I gave you? Who did you tell? What changes did you make? Did you show people? Did you tell people? What use were you? Were you useful? The things I showed you and you understood. He wants a return on that for all of us. We all need to be active in his kingdom. Yahushua said, "Whoever has found the world and become wealthy, may they renounce the world." Yahushua said, "The heavens and the earth will roll up before you. The living who come from the living will know neither fear nor death, for it is said, whoever has self-knowledge, the world cannot contain them." Yahushua said, "Wrenched is the flesh that depends on the soul. Wrenched is the soul that depends on the flesh." So wrenched are those that just, self-satisfying, me, gather, do. They depend on themselves and others to make them more. The disciples asked him, "So when will the kingdom come?" Yahushua answered, "It will not come by watching for it. No one will be saying, 'Look, here it is,' or 'Look, there it is.' The kingdom of the Father is spread out over the whole earth, and people do not see it." Simon Peter said to him, Mary should leave us, for women are not worthy of the life. And Yahushua answered, this is how I will guide her, so that she becomes man. She too will become a living breath like you men. Any woman who makes herself a man will enter into the kingdom of God. I do not take it like a man, like, being a bloke, becoming I don't know, having an operation. I take that as in becoming self-responsible, independent, as in leading your own life, being responsible for your own life, taking account for your own life, being account for what you do in your family, stepping into the role of a man, leading, guiding, training, showing. It doesn't matter if you are a male or a female, a bloke or a woman. The seed that is a mustard seed within you will grow as you read, as you pray, as you surrender, as you let go of the things that hinder you in this world. We all have them. I'm still battling things. We're all battling things because we're human. And this is the time of duality to work out, to let go of the bad and take the good. Let go of the darkness and hold on to the light. To show strength when you feel weak, because his spirit gives us those abilities to do these things. So it is about taking ownership of your life and of your future and of the calling upon your life to be that person that Yahuah said go, be that person, become that person, shine the light. All women are equal to men in the kingdom. Men are equal to women. No one is greater. So I'll leave you with these things today on this beautiful Sabbath. I hope you're having a lovely, restful time. And may we all pray that we are found worthy enough to escape the things that are to come and to stand before Yahushua HaMashiach, Yahushua the Messiah, the true living one, the eternal one, and to be found worthy to take the white stone and to enter in through the gates into his kingdom. Thank you for listening, and bless you. A lovely day. Bye.